Hey, what's up guys, it's Jess. Welcome back to my channel. Back for day 2 of uploading. I'm outside, so there's a lot of noises going on, a lot of cars driving around. So you might be wondering what kind of hat I got going on right here, and it is my It's Time to Make the Coffee hat from Dunkin Donuts. So if you've seen my videos before, you know that I used to work at Dunkin Donuts. It was an interesting experience. I figured today I'm gonna make a video explaining how I got the job, maybe some pros, some cons, and also some story times, because I definitely have a lot. And if you guys have any follow-up questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below. I feel like I'm Trish from Austin and Allie. I've had so many jobs, so maybe I'll make like multiple parts to this video for all the other jobs I've had. Dude, how can you be vacuuming the outside? The outside? The earth? I first applied to Dunkin Donuts in July of 2020. I filled out an application online, went in store for an interview. It wasn't really that much of an interview. They just kind of asked like when you're available to work, like previous work experience, etc. And then they'll text you like a day later saying you're hired, and then you just go to the office, do your like food certification thing, and get your uniform, and then you're good to go. You also have to do this observation thing, so you show up at Dunkin and you watch what other people are doing, and then the manager is like judging how you interact with everything. So I worked at Dunkin throughout the summer, during the school year, and then I actually just quit recently about a month ago. So here are some pros, at least from my experience, about working at Dunkin Donuts. So the first pro about working at this job is that it was really easy to pick up how to do everything. I remember going in on the observation day and I was like, I have no idea how I'm gonna remember how to make all of these drinks, how to make the food. It's especially helpful because at Dunkin they have the stickers on the drink, so it pretty much tells you exactly what you need to put inside the drink. Like sandwiches, once you make them, like you'll memorize them over time. It just kind of comes with practice. So everything about the job is generally pretty easy. I would say the only like super difficult thing, at first at least, was learning how to use the POS. That's the thing you use when you're at drive-thru and you're taking orders. Like making the food and drinks, using this system definitely becomes a lot easier over time. You'll just kind of memorize where everything is on the screen. Another pro about working there, which is definitely against the rules, but I already left, so whatever, is that you pretty much got to eat the food whenever you wanted to. It depends on who the shift leader you're working with is, but generally they'll allow you to eat the food for free. Another pro is that I worked the evening shift, so whenever my shift ended, I got to take home as many donuts as I want. Because if you don't know, Dunkin Donuts throws away their donuts every single night, like they don't give them out to anyone. I'm gonna go ahead and list the cons. The first one is that working at fast food is surprisingly physically demanding and also mentally draining. I guess kind of going into the next con of customer service is that some of the customers can be so rude and super mean. There have been so many times where customers have been super mean to me, even though I didn't do anything wrong. And it's really difficult in these types of situations because as a fast food employee, you kind of have to ease the tension and take the customer's side regardless of how you feel about the situation. Anyway, I will get into the story times later. I have so many, mostly bad ones. I guess the next con, at least from my experience, is that sometimes the shift leaders or managers or whoever's making the schedule will kind of like guilt you into taking extra shifts that you don't want to take. I'm just gonna insert the story time here before I forget, but one of my coworkers got hit by a car and they asked him to pick up a shift the next day. And then when my coworker told him he got hit by a car, the guy was like, well, if nothing's broken and you can still walk, like you can still come in. Huh? Also, they attempt to guilt you into not quitting as well. This happened to other people, this happened to me when I quit. There were multiple people higher up begging me not to leave. And I literally have a legit reason. It was not anything because of the job itself. I was like, I am moving. I am moving. How am I supposed to work at Dunkin Donuts when I am in Washington? Tell me how that makes sense. When I showed up to the office to quit the job, the owner was like, why are you leaving us? And he was so serious about it. The son, who also works there, was like, Dad, she's literally moving. Thank you for all your help, Jessica. And I'm like, yeah, you're welcome. I carried this place. Another con I just thought about is if you have a register, you're most likely never gonna get off your shift at the time you were supposed to get off. A lot of people for the next shift show up either right, like on the time they're supposed to be there, or they'll be super late. Either way, both of those don't help you out because you have to have your register until they're settled in, they count their register, they switch it with yours, and then on top of that, you have to count your register yourself, which takes a while. Another thing is that some of the coworkers are just so unreliable. Like, I had a really good group. I loved the people that I worked with. It's just a slight few of them either were just like horrible workers. They would show up super late to their shifts, and by super late I mean some people show up like 2 hours into their shift. Some people just don't show up at all. Some people just use the same excuses over and over again. If it's a valid excuse, sure, but I'm pretty sure a majority of the time, a lot of those select few workers made up those excuses so they didn't have to come into work. It was especially annoying as a night worker because you don't have a full shift of people. You only have like you and then 1 or 2 other people. So when that third person doesn't show up, then it's really on you and the other person to kind of run the whole show. Sometimes I would work 10 to 3, and it's really, really difficult when that other person doesn't show up because we get super busy around 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. Because if you think about it, it's not just the Dunkin'. On the inside, you have to do drive-through, and also you have baskin'. So someone has to be taking orders, and someone has to simultaneously make everything. And then on top of that, there's like DoorDash, Uber Eats, and it got so chaotic all the time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into some of these story times I had while working there. So this was near the end of my time at Dunkin Donuts, but basically I had COVID, a bunch of other people got COVID, so they were just super short-staffed. When I finally was cleared to go back to work, I show up and there's barely anyone there. I'm like, what happened to this place? They're like, oh, we're super short-staffed, everyone's sick, just get to work. That week was such a horrible week, and in one particular day, there was barely anyone working. It was me and a few other people, and we had this humongous line in drive-thru and on the inside. And there was DoorDash and Uber Eats. Not only did I have to take all of the orders on drive-thru, but I had to simultaneously make all of the drinks that people were ordering. People in the drive-thru were so mad that we were taking forever. And this is the one thing I don't like about customers, is I feel like they don't realize how difficult it is to be a fast food worker. They think like, oh, it's fast food, this should be easy. No. So there's a super huge line in drive-thru. I give the customer his drink, and he's a regular. So while I am clearly busy making all of these other drinks by myself, the guy literally stays in his spot, doesn't drive off. He calls me over just to say, by the way, you're going super slow today. And then just drives off. That was like the tipping point of this whole mess. The car immediately after this guy was some lady who's also a regular. She has had problems with me before. I don't know why, she just doesn't like me. I went to go get her quarts of ice cream, which are on the opposite side of the drive-thru area. So I bag the quarts, I give them to her, and she has the most furious expression on her face. She screamed at me. She's like, what took you so long? I wasn't looking at her, and then I look at her, and tears are literally streaming down my face. When she saw how visibly upset I was, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You seem like a nice girl. Have a great day. And then she drives off. It is totally understandable for customers to be frustrated, but what's really upsetting as a worker is having these people yell at you for stuff that you can't control, and they're not considering that. For example, those 2 negative interactions I had with those customers did not consider what was going on inside the store, did not understand. We also had Uber Eats, we also had DoorDash, we also had in-store dining, and we also flipping had no staff working. So anyways, same day, there's multiple cars after them that are still visibly mad at me, grunting or being like, ugh, like this is so long, whatever, just give me my drink. So many small, rude interactions, just car after car after car. Anyways, eventually I have enough. I'm literally bawling, and I am still the only one flipping taking drive-thru orders, literally on the headset. And I'm like, hi, welcome to Dunkin', what can I get for you? Looking back, this is actually a really funny experience, but the car was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Eventually, when they make it up to the front, they just see me hand over their drink with like tears streaming down my face. I'm pretty sure they felt so bad for whatever I was going through. We were so short-staffed, and it was such a mess inside. And then one of the coworkers was like, why is it so messy in here? I don't know, because I'm flipping doing all the work. Maybe that's why. That's another thing I didn't like sometimes, is that some of the people who came like the shift after were like, why is it so messy here? Like, why is this not done? Why is this not done? Clearly, the people in the shift before would have done it if there was time. This is not my story, but it is a story from my coworker, and I feel like it needs to be shared because it is truly an interesting one. This happened years ago, so it was long before I started working there. My shift leader is working an evening shift with 2 other coworkers. Eventually, it gets super busy. There's indoor dining, there's drive-thru, and the 2 other coworkers are nowhere to be found. He looks for them everywhere. He checks the party room, he checks the bathroom. He still can't find anyone. Eventually, he goes to the parking lot, finds the dude's car, and they're literally having sex in the car during their shift. Another story was in November during the time of the election. A customer came up to me and asked me if I voted for Trump, and when I said no, he said, Oh, you're too young and too uneducated to understand politics anyway. That makes sense. Dude, I'm literally just trying to make your coffee, bro. Another time, there's this guy in the driver's seat, a girl in the passenger seat, and they drive up to the drive-thru window. When I hand them the iced coffee, the girl says, "Oh, my boyfriend thinks you're cute. Can he have your snap?" Clearly, there were just so many questions going through my head, and I just said, you know what? I'm underage. I wasn't underage. When I told them that, that's when the girl was like, "Oh, just kidding. He's not my boyfriend. He's my brother, actually." And then they drive off. That was such a weird interaction. I have no idea what was going on there. Another time, this is more of a wholesome story, but these group of girls pulled up to the drive-thru window and she just gave me a flower. She's like, "Here you go. I found it. I wanted to give it to you." And then I drove off. That was really nice. That was the highlight, I think, of my Dunkin Donuts career. Another time, this customer who I've seen at Dunkin multiple times came up to me and asked for my Instagram, and I was like, okay, I guess, more clout, whatever. So I'm going in to type my name, and without even searching anything, you know how you just see the search bar and a bunch of names appear, like without typing in anything? I just see a bunch of Jessicas, a bunch of them. That means that this dude has tried to search me up multiple times just by having my name. That might not be true, I don't know for a fact, but that's sure as heck what it looked like. Another incident happened in the drive-thru where this customer asked for a hot chocolate. I give him the hot chocolate and he's like, "This doesn't taste like hot chocolate. This is ridiculous." He was super rude to me and I was like, "Oh, if you don't like it, I could just make you a different drink." And he's like, "Yeah, make me a different drink." I make him a different drink and he's so furious, he just drives off. He actually comes back an hour later and was like, "Hey, I'm really, really sorry for how I treated you. You did not deserve that. You seem like such a nice person." I don't know if this dude was on crack or what, but he literally just did a whole 180. At least there's strong character development, I guess. Those are pretty much all the stories I can think of right now. A lot of the other ones are just, getting rude treatment by customers, but what do you expect when you work at a fast food place? In summary, did I enjoy my time there? Yes, mostly, sometimes. Would I work there again? No. Would I recommend this job to other people? No, because I think there are other jobs out there where the wage lines up with the amount of work you do. iPad needs to cool down. Okay, that's the end of the video. My iPad's gonna flip and die. Anyways, I'm gonna go inside now. That's pretty much the end of the video. Let me know if you have any questions or would like to learn more. I will see you guys in my next video. Maybe I'll talk about my experience working at Bath & Body Works. Okay, bye.